there, Barrett Wilson here for Guitar Tricks. Wherever you are right now, I hope that it's maybe a rainy day. Maybe you got the day off. Perhaps it's snowing. This is a great time to sit down with your guitar, maybe some effects pedals that you own or a multi-effects unit, and just mess around with some sounds. Find some cool moods and really experiment with some tones. Now in this video, we're gonna get into a brief introduction into some essential moody effects, such as chorus, vibrato, we've got some delays, we've also got reverb, and then at the end, I'm gonna throw in a super experimental effect, and it's a fun one. Now real quick, a little bit about my current setup that I have here. I've got my guitar, which is a Strat here. It's going into an effects amp modeler, which is modeling a Magnatone amp. And with that modeler, I have an effects loop, and I have these pedals here set up in that loop. It's basically interrupted in that signal chain, and the pedals are interacting with that signal chain. Now, because some of my pedals are stereo, meaning not just one signal, but two signals, I'm coming out of that modeler as a stereo signal and going into my interface and my computer where I'm recording that sound. Now, really quick, to find more in-depth lessons, not only on guitar effects, but complete beginner to advanced guitar learning, click the link in the description below for a free ultimate beginner guide that includes an essential chord chart, a practice plan, a walkthrough of some beginner pitfalls to avoid, and a whole lot more. Okay, let's get into it. First off, let's hear a little bit of my dry signal. All right, so this is just the amp modeler you're hearing. Now we're gonna start off with a great moody rainy day effect, and I've got a chorus pedal here. It's made by Electro-Harmonix, and it's called the Neo clone. I'm gonna flip it on. Now what this basically does is it takes the signal and it duplicates it, and it does a bunch of crazy things to it. It can throw the signal out of phase. It can also detune it a little bit. So here is with it a little bit down. You can hear it a little bit there. I'm gonna turn it up. You can hear it starting to get a little bit more watery, a little slippery. You can even go a little bit faster there. Then you can turn up the depth so it's even more. Okay, so that's a chorus pedal. Now the next one we can get into is called a vibrato. Now it's very similar in that it's modulating, so these are both modulation effects, but this one really only has one signal, and it takes that signal and it changes the pitch up and down. So now it's on kind of light. I'll turn up the pitch so it's more extreme. So you can hear it starting to kind of be a little bit more, and you can also change the speed. So this is really slow. And then I speed it up. So it's quite fun. So it's very close to your basic chorus, just a little bit of a variation. Okay, now let's get into some delay here. This is a pedal from Moog called the MF delay, and it's an analog delay, so it's got a little bit warmer of a sound. Now what a delay pedal is doing is it's basically sampling your signal, and then it's repeating it however you want. So it's kind of chopping it up and repeating it. So you can change how many times the repeats happen. So this is a lot of repeats. You can hear it kind of go there. You can change the time of the repeats. So this would be faster repeats. And one way to get it kind of, in my opinion, a little wintry, a little cold, moody, is to have short time with a lot of feedback. It's a little too much there. Starting to overload the circuit. You can make the repeats really slow. Okay, so that's kind of your typical analog delay. Now this one here is more of an experimental delay. This is a pedal called the Rainbow Machine. It's made by Earthquaker Device. And this is kind of similar to, it's a sort of a combination of a chorus pedal or a vibrato along with a delay. So basically, it's got two different signals, or kind of three. It's got the original signal, and then it duplicates it twice with a secondary and a primary. The primary, I think, is a little louder. The secondary is a little softer. So what this one, so this one's got kind of a, you can hear that chorusy effect. Now you can change the pitch so it's almost not in tune with anything. So you can hear it's really kind of out there. Now this magic button here basically is sort of a variable where it's kind of chaotic and random. So if I hit that on, that's where it gets its rainbow effect. So this one's really far out there. I like to take this one and try and get the pitch a little bit closer. So you can hear it's kind of close. And then hit the magic. So it kind of has that weird sort of, it actually kind of sounds like a rainbow. All right, now real quick, if you're enjoying this, please like and subscribe the video and to the channel. Stay up to date on everything. Also, go ahead and check the link in the description and you'll see a free trial of Guitar Tricks. Continuing on here, next pedal is a reverb pedal. Now, reverb is huge for setting some really rainy day, moody stuff. Now, there's a lot of different types of reverb. If you have an amp or a tube amp, a lot of times it comes with a spring reverb, which is just a little chamber that's in your amp with a spring in it, and it goes through the signal, and it's really nice. You can get some good ones there. Now this pedal is a pedal made by Walrus Audio called the R1, and it's basically a high fidelity stereo reverb. So this is my stereo pedal. Now because it's stereo, it adds a lot to the depth. It has kind of a swarming sensation. Here's what it sounds like. So you can hear it has really long trails. Now this is similar to a delay pedal in that it's kind of sampling the sound, but it's not chopping it up. It's making it very smooth, just like a reverb. Just like it is if you were in a big room or a cathedral or something like that. So this is really a nice thing. Now this one has a bunch of different sounds, and I have it set for really kind of dripping, wet, deep, echoey sound here. But this is more of a spring. Okay, this is more of a hall reverb. And then there's a few other ones. That one's kind of wild. I like this one here that's called React, and it sort of has a bunch of different variables. This has a very icy sound, so it feels very cold to me. Another fun setting on this pedal is it has a swell knob, which basically if you turn it in, it will ramp in your sound, or swell in. So if I play, you hear the sound doesn't come at first. So it's kind of a lighter. If I turn it all the way up, it's really heavy. It almost has a reverse effect. It sounds like whatever you're playing is in reverse, which is really nice. Really great for setting moods, adding atmosphere. Okay, now we've reached the point where we're going to add in a super experimental effect. This first one over here, the first pedal in the chain, is called a Mel 9. It's made by Electro-Harmonix, and it's basically a tape replay machine. And it's mimicking the original Melotron, which was a piano that actually had tape loops in it. So what they would do is record different tape loops of different things, put it in the piano, and this keyboard would trigger these loops. So if I turn this on, right now I have it to an orchestra setting. Now it's polyphonic, which means it picks up a lot of the strings I'm playing. So it's kind of like a synthesizer. It's sort of like a guitar sampler. Now a really fun one that guitarists like to use is the flute effect. Turn it up just a little. Now from here, what you do is combine sounds. So I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna find one over here that's actually pretty wild. It's a low choir. Then I'm gonna double it with some chorus here, which makes it feel bigger. And then let's try putting on a delay, maybe a quick one. Definitely some reverb. Quite out there. And then try some other things. Maybe let's turn this one off. Let's get some vibrato in here. Let's take down the swell. Echoey. Let's take it to a different sound. Let's take this down a little so it's not so deep. Let's turn this one off. Let's try a little bit of basically, at this point, the world's your oyster and you can have as much fun as you want. Okay, thanks so much for watching today. I really hope this inspires you to experiment with your guitar sound and the pedals that you have. I also wanted to say that this is a great way to incorporate into your regular practice routine. So if you're getting a little tired of what you're playing, throw on some effects, work through the scales or the exercise that you're playing, and it can really inspire some better practice. Now, also I wanted to say, if you don't own any pedals, or if it seems really overwhelming to get into guitar pedals, a really great thing to do is find an amp that has some multi-effects pedals built into the amp, or you can get a little multi-effects unit that has a bunch of these effects built into it, and you can start experimenting, see what you like, and then whatever you do like, try and find that pedal and start from there. Now make sure and click on the link to grab a free copy of your beginner guide right here at the end of the video. We'll see you next time.